In the forests of northern India, the hunters use a trap to catch birds. They tie a rope between two trees. In the middle of a rope, they secure a wooden stick. The rope is tied at the midpoint of a stick. This is actually a hunter's trap for birds. You may think, how can a bird be trapped with such a small stick? How is it possible? Actually, all they do is just hang the stick between two trees using a rope, that's all. When the bird comes and sits on the stick, the bird's own weight turns the stick upside down. It turns topsy-turvy. The bird is now hanging upside down, clinging to that stick. The moment it turns upside down and loses its sense of balance, it feels totally shaken and tightens its grip to the stick. It simply holds on to the stick as its life depends on it. Because it is hanging upside down, it thinks, if I unclutch from the stick, what will happen? I will fall and die. There is no record that any bird has ever fallen and broken its head. But the bird does not have the intelligence to realize this. It keeps hanging on. By not letting go, not only does it loses its freedom, it loses its life too. Because ultimately the hunter traps it. Just like the bird, you don't realize that if you just drop your mind at the moment, you can become a Paramhansa, a liberated man. The very moment you can be liberated, you can simply start flying. The same fear that bird clinging to the stake had, you have now. Your fear and the bird's fear are one and the same. The bird believes that it can't let go. If it does, it will die. Similarly, you hold on to your mind and feel, I can't let go. If I start trusting that I am unconnected, unclutched, independent and illogical thoughts, I might be lost. The hunter comes leisurely after 4 or 5 hours, takes the bird, puts it in the cage and leaves. Now the bird neither has freedom to fly nor the stick to balance. The foolish bird doesn't know that if it had just let go to the stick, it could have been simply flown away. In the same way, you hold on to whatever you think is your identity and security. Your mind, education, your life, your relationships, your bank balance. Yama, the god of death, ultimately comes to remove the stick. That is your identity. Then you are neither a liberated soul, nor you are able to hold on to your identity, and neither have the freedom, nor you will have the stick of your identity that you are clutching. Because the stick itself is an illusion. Let me tell you, if the bird lets go and relaxes, it may flutter to balance for a moment or two. It may take 1 or 2 moments to balance itself, but it will never fall and die. When it leaves the stick, maybe for a few seconds it will fall, but then it will adjust itself and start flying. Be very clear. Let go and you will never fall and die. You will only become a liberated person. This moment, trust yourself. Don't bother about losing your identity. Just trust yourself and let go of your identity. You will immediately become liberated. All you need to do is trust that you are unclutched. Even if you don't trust that, it is still the truth. When you unclutch, there will be some revolutionary changes in your life, in your day-to-day thinking, your decision making and your daily routine. Your lifestyle courageously going through that revolution, going through the transformation that happens in you is what I call as penance. On rare occasions, during my wanderings, I have seen a bird hanging on the stick. Another bird that was once stuck in the trap but had the courage to let go and open up comes back. It pokes the hanging bird, says, hey, let go, relax. I was like you. I had the same problem. When I relaxed, I just started to fly. All it takes is just 2 or 3 seconds to balance. When I opened up, I never fell and broke my head or died. I only become liberated. I only become a free bird. Come on. But the hanging bird will not believe it. Understand that the responsibility of the free bird is to go about freeing other birds. It is responsibility of the free bird to go and poke the bird trapped on the stick and say, free yourself. I am that free bird. I have created a safety net. Even if you fall, you won't hurt yourself. Relax, let go. You will not fly. You will only fly. Understand that it's a free bird's responsibility to liberate all the trapped birds, to help them, to inspire them, to free themselves. Similarly to the bird trap, hunters also have a trap to catch monkeys. They catch monkeys using a small box for a trap. They place some sweets inside the box, which has a small opening. Monkey puts his hand inside the box and grabs the sweet. As long as the monkey holds onto the sweet, it will not be able to take its hand out because the fist is larger than the hole. If monkey lets go to the sweet, it can remove or slide its hand out immediately. But the monkey is not intelligent enough to realize that. It holds on to the sweet, and just because it is holding on, it is not able to take its hand out. If it just lets go of the sweet, it can take its hand out and be free. If you allow the understanding of this story to happen in you, you will instantly unclutch from your shafts and be free this very moment. Fortunately, by your very nature, you can have only one thought at a time. The moment a new thought comes inside your system, it means that old thought has lost its power or influence over you. If the new thought has entered you, it means that old thought has been renounced, because you can't have two thoughts at a time. You can have only one thought at a time. If you say that the old thought is also there, it only means that for that moment the new thought has been renounced. There is a beautiful story by Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. A king who was inside a huge fort was once attacked by an army that was 2 million strong. The king only had two or three people around him, and got very frightened. He told his advisor, 2 million people and I am all alone. They will kill me. The royal advisor said, don't worry, king. Open only one door. Surely through one door, one person can come in at a time. As they come in, stand on the side of the door and kill them one by one. Over. Do not try to fight with the whole crowd. If you think all your enemies are gathered together, you will start having unnecessary fears. You cannot have two thoughts at a time. You can only have one thought at a time. This means that every thought is replaced by the next thought. I'll repeat. The first thing is that you can only have one thought at a time. The second thing is that unless the old thought is pushed out, the second thought cannot come. The third thing is that if somebody can push me out and sit here, he is surely more powerful than me. Any thought that comes in and pushes the old thought out is more powerful than the old thought. This means that any thought that is coming now is rooted in the present moment. It has more power than the thought that is being renounced. Whatever that may be. By your very nature, you are renouncing. You don't need to learn renunciation. Every moment you are renouncing. What do I mean by word renouncing here? I mean that at every moment you are letting go one of your thought after another. Only then it is possible to allow new thoughts to keep entering our system. Every moment our inner space is getting cleared of the old thought. Thoughts are constantly getting renounced by themselves. The only issue is that when you create the belief your thoughts are connected, you have the problem of linked suffering. The shaft, your belief that you have some problem is your only problem. Every moment in your inner space is purified by the new incoming thought. If you allow this process to continue, it will happen by itself and clean itself also. There is no need for you to clean your mind. All you need to do is just get out of the system so that the system can proceed on its own. One important truth you should know is that even if you try consciously, You cannot possess or hold on to your suffering for long. Even if you try to hold it, you cannot hold your suffering because continuously your thoughts that creates suffering is also replaced by new thoughts. In fact, to hold on to suffering will require a lot of effort on your part because thoughts are continuously flowing. Be very clear. Your power to bring on a new thought itself proves that you have the power to drop the old thought. The problem is, instead of just watching the new thoughts flowing through you, you try to bring back old thoughts into your system. It is like picking up your trashed emails and bringing them into the inbox. Is there any need to bring back trashed emails? No. If you constantly look into bringing back the old thoughts, you will create only suffering. Understand that if you nurture the fact that any suffering can be replaced by a stream of fresh thoughts, then that becomes a reality for you and there is no suffering. If you are nurturing the thought, no. However, I must allow replacing, the suffering comes back. You will make that into reality. If your mother, the thought that is suffering is going to come back, it will come back. If you mother the thought that it is going to go away, it will go away. All you need to understand is that even once you create, once you can replace a thought in your inner space without returning to the previous thought, you will get the confidence, I have replaced it. Once again I can do it. Then you can tell yourself, if the old thought comes back 10 times, let me replace it 10 times. That's all. Soon you will see the old thought will stop coming back. This is a very beautiful incident in Buddha's life. Buddha says, whenever I said in meditation, I am going to get up after a few hours, I never became enlightened. Once I decided, if I am not going to become enlightened, I am not going to get up from this seat. Let this body dry up in this very place. Until I become enlightened, I am not going to move. Buddha says that the moment he created that strong clarity, the authentic sankalpa, wow, the next second he became enlightened. When you sit down to replace your suffering and think, today I will replace it 10 times. If it comes back the 11th time, I can try again tomorrow. Then nothing will happen. No transformation will take place for you. Decide very clearly. Until it stops coming, I am going to replace the negative thoughts. This is what is called as courage. When we unclutch, the first thing that will happen to us will be an inner healing effect, the deep silence and peace in us. Second, that inner healing will start radiating as physical well-being, which is our health. Third, naturally it will start radiating in our relationships also. Fourth, because these three are going beautifully, we will be creative and productive. A solution for depression. The depression that happened 1 month ago, the depression that happened 1 year ago, the depression that happened 3 years ago are independent, individual, unconnected and unclutched. The problem is the same as with physical pain. You start connecting them and concluding that you are having the same depression continuously. You create an idea that your life is depression. Then you start fighting with it. That only gives more life to the depressive thoughts. When you strongly believe that your last 10 years have been filled with suffering and depression, you create a strong mental setup surrounding it. Naturally, you start thinking that your future is going to be painful and filled with depression. Suppose there is a person sitting in front of you who you think is an enemy. Suddenly, if you notice that his head is separate, his legs is separate, his hands are separate, would you even feel like fighting him? No. He is not even worth of fighting. He doesn't even have a solid existence as you imagined him to have. So what is there to fight? In the same way, Only when you imagine a huge problem in front of you, that a big person is in front of you, you start fighting and getting into more trouble. Your depression is not the huge enemy that you think it is. It is just like the person with disjoint body parts. It is you who joined the parts and gave it life. You are fighting with depression is the root cause of your depression. In Ramayana, there is a beautiful story. Whoever stands in front of the monkey king Vali and fights him loses half of his power to him. In the same way, whoever stands in front of the thought shaft and starts fighting with that shaft, half of their power will go to that shaft. The moment you unclutch from that shaft, you experience the neutral space and inner healing starts. The moment inner healing starts, physically also you are healed. Do not try to renounce your depression, because by your very nature it is getting renounced, flowing away from you. By your very nature, just as joy disappears from your mind, depression also disappears from your mind. The moment you try to eliminate the depression, you will extend it and give it more life. See, if you have a deep depression, will you stop going to the office? No. You may carry the depression in your mind, but your body moves. You work. You may not be that productive or efficient, but your body still moves. Instead of living depression, I am saying live unclutched. When we live in depression, we don't have all these questions. If I am depressed, how can my body move? If we don't have such questions, the depression becomes a part of our life. In the beginning, you may have questions. How can I live unclutched? How will I even move my body? Understand that the constant remembrance of unclutching does not interfere with your mind or body movements. It only removes the depression because it lets the depression thoughts arise and fall without clutching to them. A solution for addiction. What is addiction? It is a behavior or action that if you don't do it, you will feel terrible, that you are missing something. But if you do it, you won't feel any joy. It will only be mechanical. Addiction means believing that joy or ecstasy happens due to some objects, person or situation. Understand that this is the definition of addiction, trying to elongate the joy stuff by recreating it. You bring the same person, same situation, incidents or happenings into your life again and again, knowing that the same joy is not going to happen. Some people are addicted to partying, some to smoking, some to drinking. There are many addictions. Remember that anything you bring to your life again and again will not give you the same excitement as it gave you the first time. It can only lead to addiction, not happiness. The first time you enjoy a sweet, it is a wonderful experience. The excitement is totally different. But if you keep eating more of the same sweet, the experience is not there anymore. Eventually, you will eat enough sweets, you will not even like the sight of them. You will look at them and say, oh no, not more sweets, they make me feel terrible. In the same way, meeting a person for the first time, the excitement is totally different. Later on, the excitement falls off. People come and ask me, how can I break my habits? See, habit is a beautiful word. If you remove the H, a bit will remain. If you remove the B, it will remain. Only when you remove the I, the shaft, it will die. Only when you remove the I, only when you throw I away, will it completely die. If you deeply scan your life and see, you will understand that whether it is smoking or sex or money or any other pleasures, even if you don't feel the same joy as you felt it the first time, you try to squeeze joy out of it. You try to console yourself. No, this is joy. What else is joy? You try to cover the frustration by believing it is joy. You want to believe it is joy. Try your best to drop some addiction. You can never be successful. Even if you drop it, you may be dropping it out of some fear or greed, which is a much bigger addiction. If you drop smoking out of fear or greed, you are not doing anything good to your consciousness, to your inner space. You are only damaging yourself more. You might have dropped smoking, but the fear or greed that made you drop it will be added to your inner space. At least, with smoking, you will destroy only this body. With fear or greed, you will destroy the whole being, life after life. In the next body, will carry over the fear and greed. The smoking habit may not be carried over to the next body, but the emotions of fear and greed will be carried with you to the next body. So the best way is to drop the idea that you have an addiction and it will drop. Well, thank you for joining everyone. We will see further in the topic in part 3. Namaskar.